Federal officials surrounding a religious cult compound outside Waco are hoping that a Houston attorney will soon be able to convince cult leader David Koresh and his followers to surrender.
Attorney Dick DeGuerin spent a third day talking with his now infamous client, and Eyewitness News reporter Wayne Dolcefino joined us live with the events of day 32. Wayne?
Yeah, David Sherry, you know the old expression, if at first you don't succeed, try again. That's the motto for the feds today as they continue to hope that Houston lawyer Dick DeGuerin can find a way to get the rock and roll prophet and his people out.
I hope my efforts are successful, but I don't think that the FBI is going to allow this to go on forever now.
Dick DeGuerin went back into the cult compound this afternoon for his fourth long meeting in 2 days with the cult leader. But each time he's come out alone. Still optimistic, but perhaps now more realistic.
I'm going to have to meet several times with David. We have very substantive, important matters that we're discussing, and we're making real progress.
We want nothing more than for Mr. DeGuerin to succeed in his enterprise here today. We do not want to have to get down to a tactical situation. We do not want to be forced in that by Mr. Koresh.
Cult Lieutenant Steve Schneider has also been allowed a phone conversation with his lawyer, but that's where it stops.
We do not want to get in a situation where we have 100 different attorneys going into that compound. We could be here till next fall.
If these attempts fail and we find
relatives of the cult members still inside welcome the new initiative, but want the FBI to stop blaring lights and all kinds of sounds at the compound at night.
Well, people are scared. People are very frightened. They're very tired. They haven't slept. They've been bombarded with terrible sounds, and that's very unstable. We've been extremely worried about the psychological ops damaging the children irreparably.
Just about 6 minutes ago, Dave and Shower, Dick DeGuerin walked out of the compound's front door, waved to FBI agents, part of the ground rules, letting them know that he is okay. He's supposed to do that every couple of hours, and then went back inside. He has been in there now for this afternoon meeting about 3 hours. Hard to tell whether that's good or bad news, but so far, no movement yet for anyone to come out.
Wayne, are they still blaring that noise at the compound all night long?
Did it last night, Dave, but not quite as much as they had done in nights before. But I don't think the FBI plans to stop that psychological warfare. They have broken off all telephone contact with David Koresh while Dick DeGuerin gives it his best shot. The FBI says they want nothing to distract David Koresh from talking to his counsel because they're hoping he can talk some sense into Mr. Koresh and get him to come out and end this thing.
But they're still trying to keep him up all night.
Yeah, still doing that because they still want to play that card, because if Dick DeGuerin fails, an obvious question is, what do we do next? And that's going to be a very interesting question.
All right, Wayne.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wayne. Well, this continuing standoff is now catapulting DeGuerin into the international spotlight, courtesy of a phone call from Koresh's mother. This is really nothing new for the attorney, but depending on the outcome of this case, he may become even more famous than his legendary mentor, Percy Foreman. Eyewitness News reporter Deborah Wrigley has the story.
How would you describe this? What kind of case is this?
Well, it's different. Every case is different.
But how is this?
It's more different than others.
So just who is this man to think he can get in the middle of a standoff that's outlasted the siege of the Alamo? The answer, Dick DeGuerin. And in legal circles, that name means a lot. A few cases you might recall: the murder trial of Hurley Fontenot, a high school principal accused of killing his romantic rival. Verdict, not guilty. The case of model Barbara Piotrowski, who says her former lover tried to have her killed but paralyzed her instead. DeGuerin got her a nearly $30 million judgment. And a bit of trivia, DeGuerin and his brother Mike are both Percy Foreman proteges, but they spell their names differently. Dick prefers the French spelling, which means of war. And according to his peers at the courthouse, he's a fighter.
I think that if I were involved or accused in a crime of violence, Dick DeGuerin is the first guy I would talk to try and see if he would represent me. So I think the choice of Dick DeGuerin couldn't have been better.
Dick used to go off and do his own investigations. I mean, you're getting a good lawyer with Dick DeGuerin, who puts everything into a case.
And even in a world of superegos, we didn't hear one critical opinion. As for envy,
yeah, I mean, think of all the work he's going to have to do on this case if it goes to trial. I mean, he'll have to do an enormous amount of work. Have to live in Waco, too. That's punishment enough.
Deborah Wrigley, 13 Eyewitness News.